cultured. Now I did go to Paris after after leaving Gold's Gym, right? I finally went and traveled with my family. But we met at a very important part. I had come down here after cancer, and I was running 4 gyms, and I ended up taking over the Gold's Gym in South Beach as the managing partner. And then it was really interesting how my boss and me, the owner of the gym, we ended up going to check out this studio, Power Play Studio. And he didn't think that I knew what Power Play was. And I had told you that I did know what Power Play was, and I fell in love with Power Play when I went through cancer. After battling cancer, there was a couple things that I did brand spanking new in my life, and one was Power Play, and the other one was Pilates, the reformer, so I could build my core back up. So there was 2 things that I never ever did before until I had to battle cancer. And then when I went to South Beach and looked at her studio, she had a studio almost across the street from us. And we ended up becoming a partnership. We built a studio inside the gym, and it was the best decision we ever made, because literally it brought a different clientele to the gym. It changed the atmosphere of the gym, but we were literally changing more lives because people were using the Power Plate with the gym. And of course, Sylvie's guidance, she basically stayed with us for over a year and trained everybody. We had amazing trainers. Unfortunately, after we left the gym, her, if you don't mind me saying, but her husband has passed away of cancer. I got a chance to meet him. Truly someone that looked amazing, someone that looked healthy, you never think about. And I think that's what always brought me back to Sylvie, is the fact that, we had connected. We kind of stayed away for a while because she traveled the whole world. And then all of a sudden we reconnected again. And I had the blessing last year of becoming a TEDx speaker. And I ended up asking her, and she came to my TED Talk, and we ended up reconnecting again. So I'm very blessed to know you, Sylvie, and I know that our paths will continue to cross paths always. And but your energy is contagious, your charisma, the way you've always treated people, the way you just walk into a room. And especially as a trainer, we know this. Not everybody wants to work out every day. Not everybody is ready to work out. But you are someone that you don't ever take no for an answer. You're like, let's go, let's go, let's go. You pump them up and you keep going. And I truly admire watching you travel the world and just changing people's, just even a smile. You always smile, you're always bubbly. I know life is not perfect, right? But you still always at least show that face and that smile. And I'm thankful that you're wearing my tank top, the strength tank top. That's awesome. Representing my line. So tell me a little bit about, you can add in about our relationship and how's it been.
It's interesting because, remember the boutique studio world at the time was not existing, right? So you were managing large gym. Those gym were like hundreds of members, and I was in 900 square foot. So there's something that say about being curious enough and for you to cross and say, hey, I can't believe it. You use the machine in a therapeutic manner, right? The vibration was helping you with neuropathy, if I remember correctly. So for you to say, oh wow, in the fitness world, having this machine, and it was kind of a new, like I say, boutique studio did not exist. So it was great that you came, and I remember you took the class, and I know you definitely gave some hard work for your boss at the time that came with you, and you dragged some more people. It was that curiosity that allowed us to do that partnership, and I think that's so important to think outside the box, and we surely have to do that right now, right? It is a time where we're reinventing ourselves, where we are learning new media, having to deal with virtual world, and I think that's this curiosity and way to adapt.
Yes.
That is getting us out of this hardship. So.
What was really interesting about, you talk about curiosity, right now, where people, you got more people working out now than ever at home. And this is what you've been trying to tell people for over 10 years. And and the curiosity with me was that in Pompano Beach, my flagship gym. After I went through cancer, I opened that gym, and that I had a Pilates studio. We had 11 or 12 Pilates reformers, and what we did is we turned that into another membership. And what we did was the gym was free if you became part of the Pilates studio. What's really interesting is that I've always been a manager, but I was a trainer first. So for me, it's like, I don't want to sell you a membership. I want to sell you training. Why? Because I want to change your life. Like, the reason you're going to a health club or the reason you work out is to transform in some way or aspect. The sad thing is most people wait till the doctor says you have to go, until you start feeling bad, or until you have a real good friend, right, that says, hey, come with me to the gym. So now, interesting part, we're all at home during this period, and everybody's trying to work out, and everybody's trying to think, and because they figured out one thing that we've known for a long time, that if you work out, it helps you mentally, physically, and spiritually as well. You can add meditation to it, you can add a lot of different things to it. But yeah, the power play for me was always about rehab. It was always about being able to really just, feel better, because after going through chemo, the neuropathy you're talking about, most people know neuropathy from some diabetic people know about neuropathy. And for the first time, I told you this, I felt my feet, I felt my hands, I felt like I was normal for the first time after my surgery. And it wasn't all day, it was only when I was on the power play for 15, 20, 30 minutes. So for me, it was like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And I tell you, it was a great experience for me to work with you, because, there were also days that, like everyone, we all have our days. And to have a partner or a coworker or somebody, a manager that is always alive, even if you're having a bad day, it makes you raise your game too, right? So I was always like, okay, I gotta be positive for Sylvie. so it just we did TV commercials, we did infomercials for Gold's Gym South Beach. We did so many things together. And when we came back we finally saw each other for the TED Talk. What did you think at the TED Talk? Because I know that's a different side of me that you really didn't know or didn't really see all the time.
But when we met, remember, my husband was in great shape. I mean, I was launching the business, and we did that partnership together, and he was all through that part, but I didn't. I knew what you went through, but it's truly when you face those ordeal, right? Those big life and death situation that you suddenly bring value to a lot of things. So when I saw you after, I had lost him, and we're reconnected, and for sure I went through all the 4 years of dealing with his fight, and it's made me realize what you had to go through, because again, until you don't face it personally, either as a caregiver or as a sick person, you don't realize what it takes and what it will take, again, physically, of course, but especially mentally, keeping that fight, trying to, despite the fact that the doctor might tell you, oh, there's nothing else to do, it's really crazy. And for you to have done that twice, I really appreciate. And so I went to the TED Talk, because one, we reconnected, and also, I lived all that through as a caregiver, and I realized, wow, I there's something else that I can learn. I met a lot of people after that, what I went through. When I teach across, like you say, I travel in Canada, I travel in Europe, I travel in China to teach, and I always now mention this part of my life, because you're right, it's giving the opportunity for people to suddenly come to you and say, oh my God, I'm going through this as well. And that's when you realize how many people are going through this, and how many people you can touch by that story. So when you did the TED Talk, I was like, I'm there. But it was, it was different. I saw now the David that is a speaker and not a gym
manager.
manager, you know, so that was a little bit different. Definitely discovered another aspect of your multifaceted personality and talent.
That I couldn't say any better. And you know, when you say that, it's true. That's how I always act. Is because I'm always acting from a point of view of I know how hard it was for me to go through this, and then just learn from it and fight even when I was told I couldn't, right? And then so when I talk to people, I speak from a position that I feel like they should know, right? Or they should, but I understand that that's not how everybody thinks or feels. Not everybody has had the experience you had. Not everybody has had other experiences of being a caregiver or handling cancer. You know, when I speak to kids, like I spoke at that TED Talk, there was 50 kids, I believe, there. And I said, raise your hand if you've had anyone that you know that have cancer. And I think almost every single one of them raised their hand. So
that was so crazy. That's to show you that, you know, and those kids, right, see the world differently, obviously, because they were quite young. But, you know, that's to show you it's going to be grandma, it's going to be maybe an uncle, an aunt. I mean, you know, and that's to show you how it touched everyone. And right now, even right now, what we're going through is, again, you know, we're in this situation because of a health issue, right? Because of something that is invisible. And so in so many ways, cancer. I mean, I don't know how it started for you, but my husband didn't have much of symptoms, you know?
No, me neither. No, me neither. No, me neither. Yeah. They just think the tumor grew.
And we're not prepared, and that's only by talking about it that we can touch the people that are going through it, that maybe will, and make sure that they know about support system. That is so important, having a support system. And so we are right now trying to do that, right? We're virtually connecting because we need support to stay confined, support to not lose our mind, support to find ideas on how we can help the kids to go through that, how to explain the situation, to give us hope, to say it's going to be okay. You know, I told that to people. I said, you know, they're not handling the confinement very well. And I say, yeah, but you know what? This is hope. We know that this is only a moment. We know that it's going to end. We know that at one point we will go back to our normal life. Of course, they're going to be impacted economically, financially, of course. But we will go back. We will go back to meet. We will go back to have dinner together. When you're going through cancer treatment, there's an uncertainty. Yeah. You see what I mean? Yeah. You don't know. You're battling, but you don't know. There's a 50% chance that you're not going to win that battle. And you went through twice. So you already knew that second time what it will take as effort, as, doubt, and the fact that maybe people told you, no, it's not going to work. So you have to fight even the expert. So I cannot even imagine, you know. So right now we know it's going to end. We know at one point there's going to be, that we cannot give up hope because we know with certainty that this is not a handless situation, not like a battle with cancer where we don't know. So we need a support group more than ever.
That's it. You know, you're the first person that finally, I think, adequately and just eloquently mentioned and the similarity and the comparison. That's I haven't been able to share it that way, but thank you for that, because that's actually that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this with people like yourself, life changers, people that are literally on a day-to-day basis changing lives, even if you don't know that. I mean, I remember our conversations, when you used to say, David, you always share your story, but now you understand why. It's because you never know which person. I have so many testimonials from people that I've shared my testimony at the gyms, and later on in life, a couple of years later, a year later, they would reach out to me and said, thank you for sharing. It meant a lot, and I didn't know, and that's why to listen to you sharing your story now, I promise you that it might not be immediate. Somebody saying thank you, but I promise you that there's a purpose. And that's why I always push people to say, you know, your story will reveal your purpose. And you have such a big platform, Sylvie. I mean, this is one thing, like I was talking today with the student department, the mega student conference. They've asked me to come back next year since it was canceled. It was supposed to be tomorrow. I was supposed to speak in front of 1,600 students, and I had the blessing to learn that I will be back next year to be the keynote speaker at that conference. And you know, and my fitness show and my women's conference and all these things were canceled. But it's a totally different cancellation. I mean, you have conventions, conferences, gyms, meetings. You're traveling through Europe, Canada. You have flights. You're back to back. Like I remember one time I called you. You're like, yeah, Monday I'm going to be here. Thursday I'm going to be here. I'll fly back on Friday. Then I go to this. Then I go to that. How has this changed?
Yeah, listen, I was supposed to be at this big conference, which you know is called URSA, and that is in San Diego, right?
Yes.
It's a big fitness conference, right? But in the mix from there, I was doing a series of 6 one-ways because there was a conference in Mexico following that about nutrition and about monitoring, helping people to monitor their medication when they take medication for cancer and they're at home. And so anyway, it was a non-stop until I was booked until end of April. We're not even now into what I was booked solid until end of April. And then everything started canceling left and right. One of the big conference being FIBO Germany, which you know has 250,000 people traveling there, and they canceled it because they thought if the conference in Asia are not going to happen, people are going to try to go to those conferences, right, in as a second option. And they didn't want it to have that amount of people coming in from Asia who was already diagnosed. You know, we knew that it was already happening there. We didn't know how bad it was going to be. But so finally, it was for me inconceivable that they were going to end an event that is bringing people around the world.
Yes.
Just imagine, I was at the CES show in Las Vegas in January. It was actually second week of January. The CES show is dragging 500,000 people in Las Vegas. It is one of their biggest shows. It's called the Consumer Electronics Show. And you know, I was there and we didn't know. But it was already happening.
It was already happening.
So, and I cannot even imagine how many people maybe were positive and we didn't know, you know. And that was a humongous show in Las Vegas. And the world is changing. Yeah. So, you know, when you have all those events canceled, there's 2 options, right? A little bit like you get the news, you sick, is you let it, kill your spirit and you just sit down and you just cry on all, the revenue that you're not going to make and how your life suddenly is completely changed. Your purpose is changed because if you're a speaker and you don't have anybody to speak to, but no, you reinvent yourself and that's what you're doing.
Yes.
I cannot be in front of people. I'm going to launch a broadcast and I'm like, wow, yeah, for sure. Why not? Right. And for me, it's just reaching for the brand that I represent and say, okay, you need content. I can be live on your Facebook page. I can be live on your Instagram page. Just give me access. I can do virtual training live and then provide you with video content that you will be able to use in the future, right? So I'm lucky because those brands were like, sure, let's do this. But it's still adaptation. Yes. And you had to improvise yourself productor, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had.
You're giving me advice on lighting and everything. Not everybody knows how to use those media.
Yes, I had to build a studio at home. I was getting ready after the Super Bowl. I was working with IBM TV and I've been working with RC Television and all these other companies. And all of a sudden, I was just like, okay, I can't do anything. I can't go to the studio. I have a beautiful studio in Doral with a friend of mine that I get to use and I'm not a green room, like I can do anything there. I can't go. It's not gonna happen. So it took me about a week, 2 weeks praying about it and coming up with the set, and then the technology thing. How do I make all this work where it's actually, for the viewer at home, for you guys to be able to be seen as, yeah, we're here in a set, and you can hear her, you can hear me, you can see her, you can see me. This is all very interesting. But when you were talking about FIBO, it's funny because I know Bob McFarland from FIBO at USA, and we've been in contact with his event planner for FIBO Miami. And you know me, I want to be a big part of the hosting community here in Miami for that event, because I always wanted to do an event in Miami for my charity that dealt with health and wellness. So we are literally planning a huge event for November, FIBO, and like I always tell you, I hope that you're in town.
I hope by then. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, this is the best thing they did, right? They did FIBO Germany. They postponed it for October. So everything, you know what, you guys, we're gonna have to see this year as completely condensed.
Yes.
We're going to squeeze it like a lime juice, and we're going to give it all by the end of the year. And just imagine the amazing party we're gonna let go all that frustration at the end of the year by saying, this is it. It was a transition year. You're going to have people that will adapt, reinvent themselves, maybe change career, because it might be the opportunity. See that as the positive opportunity to, you were stuck in a job that you didn't know how to let go because you had a paycheck every month, and you couldn't really let it go because your fear. And now it's to a halt.
Absolutely.
And that's an opportunity to say, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to change career. I'm going to maybe start my education that I did not because I have the opportunity online. Maybe I'm going to do that challenge, that 90-day challenge that I could not do, because I'm going to log on all the channels.
Yeah, that's true. It can happen.
Trainers that are telling you, log live, and do those 20-minute movement with me. Motion is lotion, baby.
Motion.
That is what I say to all my clients. My life motive, it doesn't come from me. I'm very humble. It comes from my mentor, pivotal coaching. But you know what? Motion is lotion.
Amen.
And as long as you are moving, I agree with you. You will get the spirit, and you will have the opportunity to think about what you're going to be doing in a positive way. Meaning, okay, I'm going to get another job, or I'm going to get a new education, or I'm going to rediscover my relationship. I mean, there's so many now opportunity that we need to grasp, right?
Absolutely.
Lotion is lotion.
What is one word for you personally? I've had all my guests. This is a one word that I've always asked them. Some of my words they've already used: obedient, consistency, faith, belief, love, gratitude. They've already used those words, but it's okay if it's a word it's okay if it's the same word, as long as I just want to know your definition of it. What's one word that every day comes up in your spirit, and it's a word that maybe you could share with the audience today that's going to give them some hope?
Yeah, again, I think what we went through to see death, it was your own. Me, it was the person that I loved the most, right, in my life, and I was hopeless. I couldn't do anything. I lost control. I didn't have control, right? I suddenly realized that. So for me, it's to adapt. It's adaptation. Adapt. Be fluid like the water. Be the water, which means whatever the content and whatever life is throwing at you, it is an opportunity to train. We are in training all the time. And the positive thing that I got from losing my husband to cancer is during the time he was sick, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about food, about nutrition, which the hospital don't.
Correct.
I learned a lot about it's okay to move. It's okay to work the body. Of course, with the proper education, of course. But what I mean is, and it's okay to talk about it. That is, and so adapt to whatever is coming your way. Be fluid and be the water, and because there's always hope. There's always hope. There's always hope when we have that behavior, right? So for me, and my life motive is every morning I adapt. Whatever is going to be thrown at me is a training day, and by the end of the day, when you close your eyes, you're like, here's what I learned. Here's what I overcame. I overcome. Here's all the tap that you can give yourself for that day. And that's what I do. Yeah, definitely.
Amen. Thank you, Sylvie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So today, while we're here listening and hearing from Sylvie Patrick, adapt. Learn to adapt. Be fluid like the water. This is going to be a very interesting year. There's some events that will not be able to be rescheduled. There's some events that will never come back. There's businesses that won't come back. But there's adaptation. Like Sylvie says, there's going to be other businesses that are going to grow from this. There's going to be new ventures. There's going to be new businesses. There's going to be new ideas and new things that are going to come from this. A lot of people talk about being normal and going back to normal. And I always say, no, I think we're going to go to a new beginning. We're going to restart something brand new. When I think of my life and I think of everything that I've had to go through, I always think it's a brand new beginning because I am not the same person that I was last year. I'm not going back to normal. Normal to us can mean something different. But I think we should start looking at it not going back to normal because our lives will never be normal again. We are going to look at people differently. We are going to touch differently. We're going to love differently. We're going to adapt to things probably quicker than we were before. We're going to make new choices. We're going to look at people probably a lot differently as well. Situations, our loved ones, the way we are communicating now. So I truly believe that this word adapt, I hope you really listen to that. We're going to have to adapt. We are going to have to if you're going to want to make it, not just through 2020, but in the future. Because the world will keep changing with or without you. And as you can see, the planet, it is changing. We're healing the planet, yet we're losing lives. But hopefully, those lives are not in vain. And all the rest of us will adapt to the new beginning. Again, I hope this interview has given you something to think about. Maybe start adapting. Maybe think about what is it that you're really doing in your life and changing. And maybe the cancellation becomes something renewed in your life. Well, as we look forward to another year or the rest of this year, I hope that this voice, Sylvie Patrick, she travels the world. She speaks everywhere. She speaks in different languages. But today she spoke to us. And I'm really grateful that she made the time for us. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. Well, today I'll finish again like I always do. Find hope, have faith, and live every day with a purpose. God bless you guys, and thank you for being part of Lifechangers for Life.